Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rewind the Lesson. My name is Margaret, and today I am thrilled to have Precious Malobe here with me. And she has been part of the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program for the past 5 years. And today we're going to hear from her how that has experience has been. She's here to shed all the lights and insights that you need to know.
Welcome to our international teaching series right here on Rewind the Lesson. In this exciting series, we are bringing South African teachers face to face with incredible opportunities beyond our borders. From innovative teaching methods to enriching cultural experiences, we are exploring it all. Join us as we chat with teachers who have ventured abroad, sharing their stories, insights, and of course, tips to inspire your own journey. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss an episode.
Hi, Precious.
Hi, Margaret. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for, inviting me here. This is so amazing. I always just love to, have informational interviews or informational meetings with other creators. So I was born in Northwest, so I'm from Rustenburg, like a very small uh city where nothing happens, but we do have Sun City though. That's the only thing we have. Yeah, I think your viewers can agree. That's like, it's pretty
Yeah.
sad. But yeah. Anyway, born there, I spent my whole life there, and then I went to uni at Wits University. So I'm a Witsie. So if any of your viewers are Witsies as well, I have a
Busy
fond
for life.
fond for yes, Witsie for life, conquering the edge.
Yeah.
And so on during my third year at uni, I think I've always wanted to live abroad or live overseas because as a child, I grew up watching The Amazing Race, and so they would always like travel around, globe trotting basically, and I was like,
Yeah.
I would like to do that. I would like to just, live and see how other people live. I've always been a curious person, so I think, any opportunity that comes my way to kind of explore other countries or places, it doesn't scare me at all. I know it scares other people, but for me, it really doesn't. But yeah, so my third year, I was doing East Asian Studies as a filler course. So I was doing that course just for points, Wits,
Okay.
like you need to pass Wits. So you need to do all you can to like
Yeah.
get the points. And so I was sitting in my East Asian Studies class one semester when the JET program representatives came to our class one afternoon, and they started just kind of presenting about the JET program and how it is, to live overseas. And so initially it was for 1 year. So the JET program is marketed under just a 1 year experience. So you are a teacher there
Yeah.
and you are cultural ambassador for your country as well, bilaterally, because I'm an international relations, graduate. And so everything is either bilateral, multilateral, ambassador, all of that stuff. So the JET program does have kind of two tenets. So the one is education or internationalization, and then the other one is kind of acting as a cultural ambassador for your country and Japan. And so I was like, that's interesting. I can do that. Plus, it's a year, and everything is paid, or most of the things are paid, or your flights is paid, and they really help you kind of
Yeah.
move your life and start your life. And that, to a very bright-eyed young student, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. And so I really took it. And as you know it, 1 year turns into 2 years, 2 years, three is four is five. You're like, hold on, I've been here for like less than a decade. Okay, maybe I should go. So yeah, I just think I was in Japan and I was in Tokyo, so which is absolutely great. I was in the city, which
Yeah.
is cosmopolitan, and I was surrounded by, foreigners alike and local people alike, and I think that's what made me kind of extend my stay up to 5 years. And yeah, that's just how it started, really, my journey to living in Japan and starting my life there and living there for that amount of time. So up till now, that's how it kind of happened. Yeah.
I just want to understand. So you completed your international relations degree. Did you get any opportunity to work in South Africa before then deciding to pursue this opportunity with the JAB program?
No, actually, I applied. So this was third year. So the JET program people came to my class during third year.
Mm.
So I hadn't graduated
Yeah.
yet, right?
Hmm.
And I always knew that if I applied to the JET program, I was kind of gonna get it,
Yeah.
because I had like really strong reasons as to why. So I was like, this is
Yeah.
gonna work. Like I will make it. Um,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
lo and behold, with faith and believing, and also being really good at advocating for yourself, or really good at what you do, in terms of like
Yeah.
essay writing and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So that opportunity came right after or right before I graduated. So before I even graduated from Wits
Hmm.
University, I already had
You
an offer
knew.
to join the JET program. So that's
Okay.
just how it yeah.
What would you say are some of the requirements for getting onto this program?
So the biggest requirement, obviously, I think with all of these other English teaching programs, overseas, or with any job really, you kind of have to have your degree. So
Mm.
for me, I had the job offer already because I had the letter of intent. So I was going to
Yeah.
graduate in the year 2019, and there was a date. So the program knew that, okay, I was
Mm.
going to be graduate by the time I would have left, right? So kind of to answer your question, the requirements is you have to be a graduate, in any field really, in any field, and you have to have some knowledge of Japan or Japanese culture or the Japanese language. So you have to have some sort of interest or some sort of reason, or like a very compelling reason. Do you know what I mean? Because there's
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
applicants. I think they get like 150 applicants, and they only choose maybe 42 people. I think last year they chose 44 South Africans, 2020,
Yeah. Okay.
2024 intake. Yeah. So, I mean, you
Mm.
have to have those differentiators, so definitely a degree, and some form of knowledge between yourself and Japan, or a very compelling interest or reason. And yeah, that's all that you need, really.
Okay, so this means that my B.Ed graduates can definitely look into this program. Now, I just want to understand in terms of English teaching, because with the JET program, it seems a bit more different to like your EPIC, teaching in Korea program, simply because when I was looking up a lot of the JET program people, I'm seeing a lot of them be more so international relations graduates. And so now I'm trying to understand in terms of the English teaching, where does that then come into play? Because what I'm gathering from what you're saying is there seems to be more of a trying to be an ambassador for your country when you're at that side. So it's not solely just about, I'm a teacher, I'm coming in to teach English. And yeah, so I sort of want you to explain to us, what does it entail being on the program? What does it mean? What is your day to day on the program as an English teacher or teacher assistant? Please just explain, what do you guys do basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually a job. Sometimes some people could look at your life and they think, "Oh, you're taking a vacation." No, I have
Yeah,
to work for my salary like everybody else. So,
of course.
so the day to day is you are a public employee basically, because it's funded by the government, so by taxpayers, by Japanese taxpayers. And so you are under a public employee contract, and so this you work at a school, right? So you are an assistant language teacher for the foreign
Okay.
department, or the foreign language department, so the English department. You are kind of hired to as a native English speaker to really help promote the language, help promote the culturalization as well, because Japan is such an island country, right? And like, historically, it was isolated from the world, I think, because of the wars and everything. But now that they've kind of
Yeah.
opened themselves up to the world, and it's still very isolated, and so it's like 98% only Japanese people. And so I think the government is like, okay, well, because they're part of the G7, this is very political, but because they're part of that, and they world players,
Yeah.
they I think the fourth or the third largest, biggest economy, so they have to be able to speak English. And so that's why they're like, well, okay, fine, let's kind of attract foreign talent to kind of help our kids from grassroots level, kind of learn English. And so that's where we come in, right? And the cultural
Okay.
ambassador aspect comes in where you are in the classroom and you have to kind of promote or make relationships between my country and Japan, or where I come from and Japan, just so that
Okay.
it promotes friendship on a bigger level.
Mm.
However, the day to day, like I said, you are a public employee and you are employed to kind of teach the language or English. So my work day was
Mhm.
from Monday to Thursday. So on the JET program, you can work only 4 days out of 5 days. So
Wow.
you have,
Nice.
yeah, you have maybe like out of your work week, so out of 5 days, you can only work 4 days and you can choose your holidays. So for me, I work from Monday to Thursday because the previous jet also worked that way. So I would have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday as a holiday, as a weekend rather. But for some
Mhm.
jets, you could maybe take Tuesday off and then work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday,
And
Friday,
navigation.
right? And
Okay.
your work week starts like everybody else's. Like I said, it is a full-time job, so you work from 8:30
Yeah.
until 5, and that's you with lessons back to back, creating materials, creating you part, like they give you textbooks, right? They give you a set
Mhm.
curriculum,
Yeah.
just like you have in South Africa, like CAPS or IEB
Mhm.
or Cambridge or whatever. And you make materials.
Okay.
You prepare students to take English tests. You prepare students to take examinations for university. Well, it depends
Mhm.
which level you are at. Because I taught high
Yeah.
school, and so
Okay.
when I'm in high school, the primary objective is to get the high school students into university, right?
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
it's preparing them to enter examinations and to take the English proficiency test and those types of things. So basically, I'd go to work, open my computer, print out presentations, print out lessons,
Mhm.
make sure that we have material that is ready to teach the English textbook, and also English expression on the side. So that's like your speech writing, your poetry writing. It depends on the level as well, but it's really
Yeah.
I basically had the job of an actual teacher. Like my English teachers in high
Yeah.
school, I was them. Yes, and
Okay.
I also prepare students to take speech tests. So maybe after school, I would
Mhm.
stay behind and coach the students with their speeches, so that when we have regional speech competitions, I'd
Mhm.
basically help my school kids with that. And so that's how my work week would look every single day and every single week. But also because,
Mhm.
well, I guess let me touch on the cultural perspective a little bit. It's not too much, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is there. Like you feel it.
Please. Yeah.
I was the only foreign teacher in my school. So
Mhm.
everyone else was Japanese. And I was the only foreign teacher in the school. So that within that is essentially culturalization. Like
Yeah.
I am the representative of South Africa. When they look at me, they're like, South
Great.
Africans behave like this. South Africans eat like this. South Africans. So I have to be on my best behavior. I can't be like cackling and laughing my head. Well, I guess I can because
Yeah.
South
If
Africans laugh
that's
like that.
you, I
But
mean.
like yeah. So I
Yeah.
am a representative.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am a representative with my country. I basically have to act in a way that is in good faith and goodwill, and represents my country in good light as well. Yeah, and also don't do illegal things, because, like I said, you are a public employee, and this is a government
Yeah.
organization. So it's a treaty between Japanese government and South African government.
Yeah, but I love how you went in depth, because I think for me, I really just wanted to get this understanding, and also obviously for the people who are watching, more so our educators in South Africa, when they think of pursuing this opportunity, they need to know if it will align with sort of the work they're looking to do. Yeah, so then what was your first impression when you moved? And I don't know if you'll remember this to the T, because that was over 5 years ago. Yeah, what was your first impression? And that leads into the question of then what led you to then deciding to stay for an additional 5 years?
Yeah, I think my so prior to leaving, I hadn't lived abroad before, so this is my first stint.
Yeah.
I don't know why people call it stint, but it is. Anyway, this was my first time,
Yeah.
living outside of my country, leaving everything that I knew to start my new life, and it was really exciting for me. I think I like those kinds of things. Like, it's not scary for me, like I said,
Yeah.
because I think I always tell people on my channel, like, you can always come back home,
Mm-hmm. Of
right? Like, you're not stuck. You're not
course.
like,
Yeah.
it's like you can always come back home. But anyway, upon arriving, I was in Tokyo. It's a big city, and it's lights everywhere, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very, very urbanized, modernized. People have this image that Tokyo is like the tech world. It is kind of. So I was really like just mesmerized. I think maybe because I was mesmerized on a daily basis. So that's why I stayed there for like 5 years because every single day I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
this is so
This is
great.
beautiful.
So I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. And also just like ease of
Mm-hmm.
access. Like everything is so
Yeah.
accessible. So right now I can tell you,
Mm-hmm.
like, like right now, being in South Africa, I have to use
Mm-hmm.
a car everywhere, right? Because the
Yeah.
Gautrain only works in Gauteng only to connect between
Mm-hmm.
like Rosebank and Marlborough and Sandton, whatever. And if
Yeah.
you are out of on the outskirts, it's pretty hard to get anywhere. You need, your own vehicle. And I think
Yeah.
that's a difference with there because everything is so accessible. Like you can walk anywhere, and it's walkable. I think that really kind of makes you want to extend your stay for
Yeah.
longer. Plus, I was in Tokyo. I think. Do you know what? To be very honest with you, because I have
Mm-hmm.
friends of mine who were on the JET program and they joined for maybe 6 months. After that, they quit to come back to South Africa because they were kind of placed in the countryside.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think, to be fully transparent, I think being placed on the countryside as a black South African woman is just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Like it's difficult, especially as a black person.
Yeah.
It's just there's just so much going on, so many nuances that just do not allow for a really happy life. The lifestyle is still
Mm-hmm.
pretty great because it's the countryside, but still everything is accessible. However, I think those little things that we need to touch on and be very honest with our viewers to be like, listen, actually, your
Yeah.
best bet is to be in Tokyo because you have a community around you, you have other black people around you. Do you know what I mean? And so I can only imagine how difficult it is to be in a foreign country, to be placed in the countryside by yourself. So, yeah.
I like the fact that you touched on that. Then this leads me to my question, which is when you do the application and you go through the process, do you then select for yourself where you'd like to be placed, or they just decide this is where they're going to place you and you kind of have to just get there and um, do what you can?
Most of the time, it can be like that. It can be like that. However, with the JET program, they do kind of set it up in a way where they say it's just random placements, right? However, on the application, you have three options. They give you three options, and
Okay.
it's not guaranteed that they will give you your first choice, second choice, or even third location choice. However, I do encourage people to really go for the places that they want to go for.
In terms of finances, you don't have to give us the exact figures. I tried looking on the website. I don't think I came across like sort of the payment structure there. And also, please just tell us, is there's a standard salary that you come into the program that you get paid, each year that comes up, do you then get a salary increase? And also, is there any benefits with you maybe joining the program as a master's graduate and not just your undergrad degree?
Yeah, those are actually pretty great questions, especially the last one, because
Yeah.
a lot of people become disgruntled because they feel like their qualifications aren't recognized. And that's actually really true. So the JET program doesn't really recognize the level of education that you came in with. So you could
Okay.
be a PhD candidate and apply for the JET program. You're still going to
Yeah.
be placed on the same first year level with everybody. Yeah. And
Okay.
unfortunately, I know it's really unfair because you work so hard for your
Yeah, it's
qualifications.
just
However,
one of those things.
it
Yeah.
is. However, there is a bright side because a lot of people transition from the JET program and they can use their master's or their PhD qualifications to actually teach in universities or colleges, like private universities, which will recognize their PhD. So it's usually like international schools or an actual university in Japan, which will actually say you need to have a master's or you need to have a PhD. So, for those people, they can look elsewhere or like broaden your horizon type of thing. But yeah, with the JET program, no, they don't really recognize your NQF9 or
Yeah.
NQF.
I've seen with some of these other exchange programs, the idea behind them is almost kind of like go to a foreign country, learn what you do, learn about the culture, and then some of the terms that are stipulated in those programs is you have to then return to your country to share what you've learned through that program. So based on what you're saying now, that someone with a master's or PhD who might be interested in then going into teaching university or college, they can then join the JET program and then go on and look for opportunities in higher education. Are you then saying that with the JET program, there is no such stipulation that once you've joined the program, stay for the year or the 5 years, but now you have to go back to your home country? That's not one of the terms.
I don't think it's one of the terms. No, it's not really stipulated on the contract. Like they don't make you sign a contract. You have to return back home after 5 years, after 2 years, because a couple of friends of mine stayed, and some of my friends left the country and they went to Europe. Some of my friends work in the US, and some of my friends, he has his own like art studio now, in Japan, so he stayed there. However, I would advise that part of the application process, or rather in the interview, before even like going to Japan, they do ask you, how would the JET program help your career, right?
Yeah.
So you really need to be able to kind of work around that. So basically, you wouldn't want to say, oh no, I just want to use the JET program to as a
A stepping stone.
yeah, no, don't do that. don't do that.
Yeah.
Even if that's what you want to do, don't, because you'd be shooting yourself in the foot. And so really, and also, I mean, no, it's like taking advantage of them, taking advantage. But really, you don't have to, because I've seen so many people pursue other things, outside. But I think what you do need to remember, though, is while you are on JET, you are a government employee, and whatever you do, if you get in trouble, if you do nonsense things, it does kind of reflect, because they can trace you, they know where you come from, and it's just like, so.
Please touch on the salary aspect, how much you earn when you start, the bonuses, the salary increases as you go. What is that structured like?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the driving factors. I was living in Tokyo. As much as I love it, and I loved it, and I would choose it over anything else, it's incredibly expensive. It's like Cape Town. It's literally like the equivalent of Cape Town. You need to have money to be able to kind of, afford rent or afford things. So rent what probably was my biggest expense. It's absolutely incredibly expensive to live in Tokyo. However, on the JET salary, they do kind of set it up in a way where you won't be homeless, right? You are able to kind of save. But I do need to kind of caveat and say that a couple of people, when they want to, live in Japan or live in an Asian country, because it's so close to other Asian, like, destinations, or holiday destinations for like Thailand or Philippines or whatever. So people would want to, travel and go on vacation. Then what's your goal really? Are you going on the JET program to earn a salary so you can travel, or so you can save? So for me personally, I found that it was very difficult to do both on the JET salary. It really was honestly very difficult for me to travel and save at the same time. And so I chose the saving option. And I was like, well, Philippines will still be here in the next 10 years. So, okay, fine. So...
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it broke my heart every single time I see my friends, going on Bali,
Yeah.
Thailand, or what, South Korea, because it's so cheap and it's so accessible. But I'm like, okay, fine. What are my priorities, right? Am I
Yeah.
here to save or am I here to go on vacation? Um, I mean, I'm a young person. I want to do both, but on the jet
Of
salary, to be
course,
very
of
honest,
course. You know? Yeah.
it doesn't allow you to do both at the same time. But it is still quite higher than South African public school teachers. I think, I'm not sure. Please correct me on
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I do think that the quality of life and the salary does kind of balance out. Like it makes sense. So you're still going to be eating really good food, really like organic food or whatever on that salary. You're still going to be getting subsidized medical care, which is one of the most beautiful things about being in Japan, is that they pay 70% of your medical aid. So medical aid is basically free, literally basically free. So consultations, you pay like a tiny, tiny portion. Medicine, tiny, tiny portion. Hospital, tiny, tiny portion, because you know it's 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 out of your salary, but it goes a long way, and you can see where it's going, and so you don't become disgruntled.
Okay.
So yeah, in terms of quality of life, it definitely does equate, or definitely does balance out, or it makes sense with the salary, and it is very possible to live a good life on the jet salary as a single person. As a
Okay.
single person. So yeah, the tricky thing becomes when you are with a family. The JET
Yeah.
program doesn't help with that, but they do kind of pay a little bit of a dependent salary. If you maybe come with your wife or something like that, they do pay you a little bit more, but it's not enough to cover,
Enough.
the expenses
Okay.
of two people.
Two
You
people.
know what I mean?
So
So
essentially,
your
your
partner,
partner would have to get some kind of job.
as soon as possible. As soon as possible,
Okay.
absolutely. Because rent and food and transport, as much as everything is accessible, it does cost a lot. And like I said, for me, I would liken living in Tokyo to living in Cape Town. It's just so expensive. You need to be able to have a good salary or be good
Mm.
with your money. But yeah, coming with a family, it's possible, definitely, but you'd have to either have other forms of income or have a partner with you that's working as well to be able to help you.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a single person, as a young person, it's definitely, I think it's good, and you are
Very.
able to save, you are able to travel. Yeah, definitely really good. But however, rent is so expensive. Like I don't know if maybe your viewers watch these apartment apartment tours. Apartments in Tokyo are like a shoebox. They are so small because
So small. Yeah.
yeah. So for example, I used to pay around 8,000 rand for rent, and I think 8,000 rands in South Africa, it would get you a two-bedroom, like a
Yeah.
two-bedroom apartment.
Easy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a
Studio.
little shoebox by yourself. But it's your place. It's great. But it's definitely
Yeah.
expensive. That's just like I'm just painting a picture just so that everyone is aware.
Yeah.
It's definitely good as a single person, yes. And to answer your other question before I get sidetracked, so you do kind of get increases every single year. Um, it's not much. I think it's maybe like 1% or 2%. And the last time I calculated that, it was maybe 2,000 rands extra. So that's really not that much. From
Yeah, it
first
really
year
isn't.
to second year, it's the difference is not that much. But maybe you can, I don't know, like pay electricity, or I don't know, just but yeah, but you do get increases. It's just not too substantial. However,
Okay.
there are no bonuses on the JET program. So that's something that you kind of have to, work around. Normal teachers do get bonuses, but not the JET program participants. No. So no.
Okay. Thank you so much, Precious, for joining us. And I'm hoping that maybe in the next 3, 5 years, we'll catch up again and you'll tell us what you're up to now, what you're doing. I wish you all the best of luck now that you're in South Africa. I hope that all doors will open up, and I have no doubt that you'll be able to sell yourself and get placed in a room where you'll be able to serve our country to the best of your abilities. Yeah, so this is the end of the program. And yeah, to the viewers, please definitely go check our Precious channel. I'm going to put the link in the description here, and they can see the beautiful city that you've been talking about this entire time. And they can catch up on all your vlogs and hopefully even some of the questions that we did not answer. I know for a fact that you've answered them through your own videos on the channel. So please go check out Precious channel, subscribe, and watch the videos over there. Thank you so much, Precious, and we will catch up next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for your time.